If you're only celebrating outcomes, then really what you're doing is you are just reinforcing luck. But when you celebrate processes, you are reinforcing excellence. This is the fastest way that you can turn performance around immediately if you focus on the process of what people are doing every single day and you celebrate that before the outcome ever hits the scoreboard. Hey, welcome back to the 3PX show. We're glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Episode 19, I think this is. And we're going to be talking about some fun stuff today, specifically why it's important to celebrate the process and not just the outcome, and how critical it is to your business to focus on the processes that are happening inside your business and not just the outcomes inside your business. So before we get started, www. What's Wayne wearing? What you got on today?
Hey, it's above and beyond. I have worn this shirt once before, I think, in another episode. But as we're talking about processes, that tends to talk about people as well to a certain degree. And so it's just super important that as we build, the people that do the best at their processes are the ones that are really the ones that are going above and beyond. So
yeah, and the reason why I love that is because above and beyond is, you would think, someone who goes above and beyond, they're promotable, they're separate from everyone else. But around here, that's a core value. Yeah. Above and beyond is just what you do to work here.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
This is just who we are.
It is. That's just one of five.
Yeah, I love it. So if you're only celebrating outcomes, then really what you're doing is you are just reinforcing luck inside your business. But when you celebrate processes, you are reinforcing excellence. There's a lot that happens on the outcome side that, quite frankly, it's out of your control.
Right.
For example, earlier this year, we did not start off January good. Okay. And it doesn't mean that we were like, the business shut down or anything like that, although it did for a few days because of the snowstorm. But the bad weather, the ice, the snow that took out a lot, not the majority of, but a lot of the country for, a week, 2 weeks or something like that. When your business goes down 20, 30%, that has a major, major impact.
It's hard to overcome.
Yeah. It's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
But if you're only focused on the outcome, sales are down, now I'm going to get mad at everybody. But everyone is doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're calling leads, they're following the processes, they're working hard, they're doing all the things that they can possibly do. How can you be upset then if the outcome doesn't fall in a way that it should, right?
Right. And you got to think too that if they're down for you, they're more than likely down for everybody else too, because everybody's dealing with the same exact thing that you're dealing with, and that's just the country shut down to a certain degree. And so that's the good thing about our business too. Our model is that we're a nationwide company. That tends to help us quite a bit. But if you're regional and you're like right here in Nashville and the city shut down, the city shut down. And that means construction shut down. That means, whatever else is for the most part shut down, and nothing is really moving. And so you can't expect business to be clipping and going the way you want it to go if you can't get your people there. And you're, like you said, you're only looking at the outcome.
Yep. 100%. So we talk about why process beats outcome. I'm gonna throw back to prior experience that I had, and what I was really, really, really good at was taking over bad areas, an underperforming division, or whatever the case is, and turning it around. I took over the lowest performing division in the entire company, month after month, year after year. They had already been through multiple VPs, and when I took it over, within 6 months of being there, we had already had top 5 finishes, like 3 out of the 4 months. And then we went years, finishing number 1 at the top of the rankings. So, and in the middle of all that, continuing to take over or move between other underperforming markets. And whenever you're in an underperforming situation, morale's already down.
Right.
Like, people know they're getting beat. They know that they're on the bottom. They know performance isn't good. The only way I have found that you can generate excitement, morale is by focusing on process and then celebrating when people do things right.
Right.
Because you can get people to start feeling like they're winning. For example, when I took over markets like that, there were certain fundamentals that I knew were critical to business success. Like on the collection side, you had to make phone calls. So you had to do 2 call throughs every single day. We knew that for difficult accounts, we had to do field visits. We knew that every single time you set a customer up on a new agreement, you wanted to use auto draft, right? So you're getting your payment every week, every month, or whatever the case is. So when we started to do those things, hour by hour, day by day, I didn't focus on the outcome. I watched stores and I watched people do the specific process, and then I would shout them out. I'd celebrate. I'd send reports out that would reinforce people who were following the process before I ever saw an outcome.
Right.
And what started to happen was people started to feel like they were winning before the score was ever final, before we ever had performance that improved. People started feeling good about the work culture, about the environment. And then the outcome started to change. Okay. So this is the fastest way that you can turn performance around immediately if you focus on the process of what people are doing every single day and you celebrate that before the outcome ever hits the scoreboard.
Yep, exactly. Because you're changing the whole process at that point. You're making it so much easier for the people. And again, if they understand the process, the outcome is going to take care of itself.
That's right. The other thing that it does for you is it removes all the variability. Like we talked about earlier, I can't help it if there's an ice storm. I can't help it if the holidays hit. I can't help it if Google ad expense goes up because other competitors are coming into the market, or because Amazon wants to start dabbling in doors or partitions or something like that. Like, I can't control that. What I can control are all of the processes and the way that the teams execute internally. Mm-hmm. So even when the outside influences, are kind of impacting outcomes, you can sort of keep your culture and you can keep your morale insulated from that by enforcing great process and then celebrating great process. You want to celebrate the reps, not just the results. Celebrate the reps.
Yep.
Now, we're going to talk about a couple of common traps here real quick.
What are the common traps?
I'm going to mention them. Okay. There's common traps when you're not focused on great process, when you're really only focused on outcome. This is what you find. And the first one is outcome worship. So you start putting numbers up on the board every single day. We start finding ways to shortcut things. Now, this is dangerous because whenever you have a system where you're ranking people, particularly in sales,
right,
then people start to take shortcuts or start to do things that are not quite
ethical. Yeah. We've had to deal with that in the past.
Yes. To deliver numbers.
Right.
Outcome worship can be very dangerous,
right,
for a business for that reason. So you've got to be careful with that. Then the other thing is the next trap is whiplash management. Hey, we're doing good one day, next day we're down and I'm upset.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. Then, this week was great. And then the next week we're down and I'm upset.
Yeah.
So it's
expecting a great week every single time.
Dude, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We never know what leader's coming to work today.
Right.
And the emotion of the leader, the emotion of the manager, the emotion of the department rises and falls based on the performance or based on the outcome. And you cannot have a sustainable, good culture when you're managing like that. Associates get tired of that whiplash.
And it happens way too often. It happens way too easy for it when you have a manager that just is only looking at the outcome only. They're looking at the numbers, and the numbers drive every single thing. Yeah, I get it. Numbers do drive, and numbers are super important. The outcome is important. But if you don't follow the process and just keep it consistent, then you're never going to have the outcome that you want. You're always going to be disappointed.
Yep. And this is where personality really can be detrimental, because I naturally have sort of a passionate and overbearing, I guess you could even say, personality. So when I focus on if I just focus on outcomes and focus on numbers, then that personality is going to manifest either strong in a good way or strong in a bad way. And you don't want that.
But that's natural, though. I mean, if you think about it, for a manager, and your whole job is to make sure that you perform and that you show the outcome to ownership or to whoever you're showing it to, that's just part of it.
Yep.
But again, if you try to do outcome based, and like you said, in the common traps here and the whiplash, hey, things are going great this week, and you're fired up and you're giving your team praise, and then next week they're working hard, they're doing everything well, and they're following the processes, but the outcome's just not there. Well, that pipeline's building, so you got to understand that part of it too. And it's not just a 1 week. If you're only looking at things on a weekly basis, then you're looking at them wrong anyway, because you got to look at them over a stretch period of time, because there are going to be the ebbs and flows of how things work. And if you look at it for a month at a time, then that 1 week, it may have hurt, but the other 3 weeks may have been excellent.
In the business I came from, it was week to week, month to month, but then also quarter to quarter.
Yeah.
And I knew when the bad quarters were going to happen, and I knew when the good quarters were going to happen. And it's crazy how you're a zero for 2 quarters, and then you're a hero for 2 quarters. And I'm thinking like, dude, I didn't do anything different. You're celebrating me, you're celebrating the team because we had a great quarter. And I did just as much. I worked just as hard. I did all the same things that I did last quarter when you were yelling at everybody, mad because the company missed their numbers. And then you had to get up on a corporate earnings call and look like a buffoon because you over projected. Yeah. I didn't work less hard. I didn't take more time off. We didn't have any issues that we weren't expecting.
That sounds like something we did. Was it last year?
Oh my gosh!
Or was it the beginning of this year?
No, beginning of last year.
Beginning of last year, where we just
we almost lost our soul.
Yeah, because it was just we didn't over budget for the year. We just set the budget wrong
for the first 2 months,
for the first couple of months.
Yeah,
and if we would have laid it out and level loaded the budget the way it should have been, we would have been in great shape.
And everybody was doing exactly what they had always done.
Yeah.
The same way they'd always done it.
The process was working.
Which was not a bad thing, which was a good thing.
Exactly.
Right? They were doing the exact same things, the exact same way that we were celebrating everyone in November and December. And then all of a sudden they're doing the same things in January and February, and now we're mad.
And January, February actually were good months. We just budgeted them totally wrong. Right. And so that's, you talking about a fire drill right there. That was a mess. And actually that really hurt. That had an effect on the rest of the year budgeting wise, even for the management team, because then it was just everybody was a little gun shy.
We started sandbagging.
It was, yes. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, because we were so worried about going through that again. I committed to doing this, and I've only got 20 minutes left because we do actually have full-time jobs that Wayne and I do. But I just want to say, if you're that leader, you might be the CEO of a publicly traded corporation, and you're listening to this right now. You got to stop bending to the board, and you have to be strong and support your people. Your people are not doing anything different from 1 month to the next, from one quarter to the next, but yet you will change your tone and the emotion and how you lead them and how you view their performance quarter to quarter based on what you told the board that you were going to do this quarter or next quarter. They're not changing. They're all still working hard. So you have to celebrate the process and celebrate people for doing the hard work, following the Now, if you're missing outcomes and people aren't following the process,
different story.
Be mad about it. Okay.
Exactly.
Totally different story. But in the case that we experienced year after year after year after year after year, we all were killing ourselves working hard. But because
just get better at what you do, though. That's the thing. You got to look at it and say, okay, what did I learn from last year, and how can I make this year better and make sure that I do it right? And I think this year we've been a lot better. I mean, we still missed our budget in some areas, but we were intentionally, knew that we weren't going to grow as much as we were this year too.
Yep.
On that part of the business. So just because we were hitting the max on every part, building, machinery, all that kind of stuff. So
shout out to the last episode.
Yeah.
I could talk about running your business. That needs to be another podcast talking about you got to run your business at 80% capacity. You cannot run your business at 100% capacity because then you're constantly at a ceiling. You can't run a business when you're constantly at the ceiling. You have to run your business at 80% capacity. And I'm hyper aware of that. In fact, just last week, I talked to one of our supervisors and I said, what percentage capacity are you at? Are you at 120? You at 100? You at 80? You at 50? Where are we at? He said, I feel like we're at 90% right now. I said, okay. So we got a little bit of room, but I know I can drive process to get an extra 10% out to get us back down to 80.
Yeah.
But last summer, 120%, baby.
We were.
Overtime was up and errors were up and capacity was at an all-time high and people were stressed. So, all right, I won't rehash the last podcast, but we got to talk about the 80% rule for running your business. The next trap you got to be careful for is the hero culture. And man, I got lots of examples for this too, but in our previous business, we could be having a terrible month, but because we knew that the first of the next month fell on like a Sunday or a Saturday, or the third fell like on a Saturday or a Sunday, then we knew that Thursday, Friday were going to be massive. So last day of the month, we're coming in with massive revenue, massive sales. And it's like we rescued the month and all that. And all of the operators are sitting around like, dude, we knew this was going to happen. We knew it was going to be a big day. We knew we were going to pull forward. We didn't do anything different, but everybody all around the corporate office is celebrating like, look at them. They pulled it out. They're so amazing, that kind of thing. And you get this hero worship, this hero kind of culture. And it can't be like that.
It's hero and relief at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the hero culture for them, for the managers that said to the board that here's the numbers we're going to hit. It's relief because they were stressed out they weren't going to hit it.
Yep, 100%. So, and I get it, but you got to stop with the fire drills,
Right.
Because what happens is then potentially you can be rewarding behavior for someone who really didn't have a good month, really didn't follow the processes, but then they come in at the end of the week or they come at the end of the month with that one big sale. And the next thing you know, they're up on a pedestal and everyone's celebrating how great of a job they did to rescue the numbers and all that kind of stuff. And they weren't doing the right things the whole month.
And it promotes that type of work ethic as well.
Yeah.
Because then they start realizing, oh, well, I can sandbag it for a little bit and then come back and just hit certain times that I know when I know it's going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. And then the last thing is I just want people to be careful of vanity process. Now, this is different than celebrating the outcome, but people can masquerade looking busy for not actually following the process or doing value added work. You can shuffle a lot of papers around and look super busy at your desk and really not be generating anything or doing a whole lot. So
Right.
you got to deep dive into what exactly are people doing to drive value? What exactly are they doing to generate revenue? What exactly are they doing to serve the customer? As opposed to, man, I love that guy, Wayne. He's in early. He's busy all day long. But well, busy doing what?
Yeah, exactly.
How many times have we asked that?
Oh,
I'm busy. Oh, busy doing what? Well,
yeah. Well, people can look busy.
Mhm.
And when the managers or the owners walk by, hey, there's all kinds of busy work that you can do that you can just, fly under the radar and for a long period of time. And if a manager is not paying attention, they're always top of the line. They're always, always the favorite in the company because they've done, they're busy as they can be. They're always doing this, and this. And then when you dig into it and you really start paying attention, it's totally different.
yeah. Now, for those of you that follow, I think it's the 4 disciplines of execution. In that book or in that framework, it talks a lot about leading indicators and lagging measures. Okay.
Right.
So I feel like for our companies, we really have a great scoreboard of their lagging metrics. Don't get me wrong, but we know day to day if something is wrong or a number is off, we see it right away.
Right.
So what I want to talk about is you have to have a scoreboard that you are looking at daily that is process oriented.
Exactly.
So in our sales department, we have reports that we look at that tell us how many phone calls did someone make, How many contacts do they have? How many tasks did they complete? A task could be calling a customer back, emailing a customer back, or it's basically like a to-do that you have related to a sale, essentially. So we have reporting that is around process.
Right.
The other thing that I started doing is taking all of our recorded conversations and then putting those recordings into an AI tool to tell me how well people are overcoming objections, how often they're asking for the sale. So I'm getting leading indicators right on the front end of the conversation, not on the back end of how many mistakes did we make, or did we have a claim at shipping, or did a customer call in an NCR?
Right.
But at the very, very front of the business. So look at your scorecard. Look at the things that you evaluate, the KPIs you evaluate every day, every week, every month. What percentage of those are process or behavior oriented, and what percentage of those are performance outcomes?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is like 0, or I'd say even less than 20% are behavior or process oriented, you got to redo your scorecard.
Right. Well, part of that scorecard too is the things that you watch are the things that get taken care of. So make sure the things that you watch are the most important things, and that they're the accurate things. Like you said, if you put the wrong things in there and you're watching it and you're always super high, well, was it the right thing anyway? One of them that we watch all the time is on-time fulfillment and the operational side of
Yep.
it. Well, that's a huge one for us, and we've watched that for years. And we watch it, and we watch it on a daily basis, because we want to know, okay, when the customer places the order, how long will it take them to get out? When we give them a date, how often do we hit that number? Are we shipping by or before that date? And we're good at it, but this year we're still good. We're 97%, 96.9% or something like that, which, we want to be in that 98% range. And so, we knew it might take a little bit of a ding this year, but but those metrics are super important for us to make sure that we can do that, to where we know what the process is and how to watch it. Because if we're not watching those type of things, they'll get out of hand and out of control really, really easily,
Fast.
and no one will know.
Yeah. And really the last thing I want to bring up is your reward and recognition system. You have to be very, very careful how you reward, like how you recognize people, how you celebrate the things that you call out. And you have to be very careful how you reward people, how they're compensated, how they're paid. For example, if you're paying people on a tier-based performance system, the better you do in a month, the more money you can make, right? What happens is, what you're in danger of, I'm not saying the system is bad. I'm saying you have to set up guardrails to understand these systems and how they can negatively influence your business.
Yeah.
So if you're paying people on a tier-based performance system, they get to the last week of the month and they know, I'm not going to hit that third tier, or I'm not going to hit that fourth tier.
Yeah.
I'm kind of maxed out. What do you think they're going to do?
They're going to hold it till next month.
They're going to hold it till next month.
Yeah.
And then next month, they're going to hit tier 4, tier 5. You're going to pay a bunch of money, and then they're going to go right back down into that same pit.
It's going to be a 2-month cycle for them.
Yeah. So you have to be really careful how you're incentivizing people, and you have to create guardrails to make sure that your reward system, your compensation system, does not unintentionally reward poor behavior.
Right. That's such a good one.
Yeah. And then the other thing is just your recognition cycles, right? Who are you celebrating? Who are you calling out? Who are you shouting out? This is why we have Employee of the Month that is tied nothing to performance.
Right.
So we have Employee of the Month for our support system, our support side of the business, which is sales, support, accounting, all that. We have Employee of the Month for operations. And none of those Employee of the Months are related to who sold the most, who got the most done, who had the least amount of errors, all that kind of stuff. It's all based around core values.
Right.
When you nominate someone for Employee of the Month, you have to talk about how they display all the core values. And then that's how they're rewarded with gift cards. We celebrate year-end trips, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know,
someone that goes above and beyond is not just, they're focused solely on their job. Usually those are the ones they have made such an impact around the people they work around and company wide for that matter. I mean, we can name several right now that, this whole process of us rebuilding the website has brought forth such amazing people that that have worked here, have just been great at what they do, but they have risen to the occasion. And that's what you want to celebrate. The ones that do that don't expect it, but they just do it because that's who they are. And they have made an impact not only on what they do, but on what other people do as well.
And we recognize those folks frequently. And we gave them a little special recognition a few months ago. But we were recognizing them not for the outcome necessarily, but for the commitment to the process, to working so hard to helping, because we know the outcome will come when you put in that type of effort and follow the process like these folks have been.
But there were no numbers that you could follow. You just knew their work and what they were doing and what they were producing. It wasn't an outcome base, right?
Yep. All right. I said last thing would be reward and recognition systems, but I feel like there's a lot of companies listening to this and things are going good for them. You might be managing or leading a department, or you own a company and you're just flying along and things are great, and you've fallen into the trap of, because things are good and you're sharing KPIs and you're celebrating good performance, the problem is things are probably not always going to be good. And then what are you going to lean on when times do get tough and you don't have a stellar sales report to send out, or you don't have a stellar P&L to send out? There's no better time to prepare your business for tough times, or to start shifting the culture of celebrating process, not outcomes, or not just outcomes, than when times are good. Yep. Start recognizing people today for, man, I just noticed that you've showed up on time every single day this week, and I know that was a struggle for you early on. I just want to say how much I appreciate you. Being at your desk and on time every day, that really means a lot. Or I saw that you made 100 phone calls yesterday, and that's not easy. I appreciate you being so focused on your work.
Yeah.
And I know if you keep doing that, you're going to get the results that you want. So I just want to say thank you for staying focused on that. Right.
And that's just going to help people drive that much more and feel recognized and appreciated for what they do.
Mm-hmm. It goes back to a book I read years and years ago. I think it was Ken Blanchard, but I can't remember. But it was Whale Done, WHALE, Whale Done, How to Get a 2-Ton Whale to Do Flips. And it was about positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
You don't celebrate the whale after, hey, good job, whale, because you got the flip done. But any small behavior that the whale was doing was rewarded. They were rewarding the process of the whale doing the things that they wanted the whale to do. And then before you know it, the whale's doing flips and turns and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So you got to reinforce positive behaviors consistently rather than focusing on outcomes or beating people up for negative outcomes. Make it about the process.
Yep. 100%.
So any last words before I got 5 minutes until a meeting.
Hey, how about that?
So
ended on time.
The timing is working. Yeah. I have been watching it though.
No, that's good though.
We go from like an hour-long episode to like a 20-minute episode. So if you listen to both the episodes 18 and 19, then they'll average out to about 35 minutes.
They will. They'll do well. But biggest thing, like you said, is just don't focus solely on outcome. We got to focus on process and focus on the people that are in the process, that are doing it, that are in the day-to-day, and give them the recognition they need.
Hey, before we leave, can we say hi to somebody?
Who are we going to say hi to?
Can we say hi to Joanne?
To Joanne?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
She's listening and watching,
I'm
right?
sure she is.
Yeah.
That Joanne happens to be my mom. So, Mom, I love you, and I just want to say hi, and I hope you're watching this, or will be watching this soon.
Thank you for allowing Wayne to have a play date with me.
That's funny. That's too funny. She came. What did she say? She came to us and that talking about the podcast and I introduced you and said, "Oh, is this the guy that you play with? Is that what it was?"
That's right. Yeah. So
that's too funny.
We've been considering changing the name of the podcast to Play Date with Wayne and Steve.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that could be one of the P's, right?
Oh, it could be.
It could be
5 P's.
The 5 P's.
Play dates Property, people, process, and products.
Now you
or
threw
programming
property
process.
in there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, property, you got to take care of the building.
That's true.
Okay. It was great meeting you, Joanne. We love
Yeah.
you. Thank you. And we can't wait to see you for our next play date.
Yes.
Thank you for watching the 3PX show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please don't forget, like, share, subscribe, all the things. And we can't wait to talk to you soon. We love you. Appreciate you. See you.
Take care. Bye.